Alrighty, I'm getting everything set up for the stream. We're going to be going live here in a minute. So hope you're ready for today's live solar quotes. We're going to be covering Palm Desert, California. Yes, we're still in California right now. As this series evolves, we're going to be exploring other states. I'm Dale with Renewable Innovations. I am an energy consultant. I specialize in the solar energy field, and I really enjoy technology in general. So I love researching it and digging into it. Obviously, if you've subscribed to the channel, you can learn a lot about solar and different technology. I do jump around sometimes and throw in some stuff. There's some videos coming out on portable batteries, some stuff on Meta's new AI glasses with the display, the display glasses. So be sure to subscribe to the channel, like this live stream, because I definitely appreciate that when you do it, and it helps. It really does. So we're trying to build this channel up so that way we can, get back to where we were one day at a time, right? So if you're interested in making the switch to clean renewable energy, be sure to reach out, reinnovations.org. I'm going to do some live quotes here. I also do paid consultations. If you have a project, maybe you're an electrician looking to get into the solar industry, because sadly, 40 to 50% of the solar contractors in this industry are going to just disappear once that tax credit expires and their pipelines dry up. It's pretty tough, and we're going to talk about that and explore it in some upcoming videos as the clock continues to wind down for that tax credit. And it's just one of those things of an industry that needs to evolve. And I'm going to be talking about that in great details on another video. So if you are an electrician, we need you in this space. We need your support. I'm here to help you navigate it. Not a lot of companies are out there reaching out to electricians. I cold call electricians, and some of you reach out to me direct, which is really nice. So I appreciate you that have done that and have been like, hey, I think I want to do some of this stuff. Where can I start? You seem like a knowledgeable person, and I am. And I'm not trying to blow up my head or anything, but I've been doing this for about 10 years now in various positions, from sales to marketing to operations to project management, NEM. I mean, every aspect of an organization related to solar I have been involved in. So you'd think I'd have my own solar company, but I really just like the consulting part. And I think that's a gap in the industry, just like services. And so I'm filling that gap in a way that I feel needs to be filled by offering consultation services. And as the industry evolves, might see more people like me. Maybe not as much experience, but it's good to know. And of course, our chat is live, so you can then, of course, chat with me as I'm building out these quotes for the Palm Desert area. And yeah, it's pretty good. So I've already, searched for realtor.com. I've already went on the website and pulled up their stuff. So looks like it might be a little frozen. So hang on, give me a second. My mouse over here. It looks like we might be. Oh yeah, it definitely froze. So you gotta give me a second. This does happen from time to time. When you're doing stuff live, it's not perfect always. Okay, now we should be talking business. Yes. Okay. So I narrowed down the search. I got rid of foreclosures. I've got rid of some mobile homes. Some of our past live videos, we did Palm Springs. We did Temecula, California. So I'm going to go a little further into the desert. We're going to do Palm Desert. And then next week, we're going to be doing Murrieta, California. And then the following week, towards the end of October, we're going to be doing Riverside. So I'm going to be just looking up different cities and just doing these live streams and building out quotes. Right now, two of our largest partners is ESP, Energy Service Partners, and my favorite is Axia by Q-Cells. So depending on what you're looking for, I have different pricing and different equipment between the two, but Axia really does shine in terms of their premium products, in my opinion. Using those Qtron modules are top notch, and then they have great pricing. Really, I just looked at a quote from someone else recently, and my quote was like $1,500 cheaper without me trying. right? And in my opinion, I was going to explain stuff in a better detail, but they had already signed the contract. They were just looking at it as a second opinion, and that's something I can do as a consultation. So just go ahead, use that link up at the top, reinnovations.org. Just type that in your browser, and you can go to services and you can see paid consultations. If you want a quote, just go to contact and use the drop down. Maybe you don't know what you need yet, and we can explore from there. So all right, so I got homes and I set this range as 2,000 to 3,000 square footage. So I'm going to try and do a little bit bigger homes in this particular video than what we've done in the last two. I've kind of done small, medium, large. I'm thinking of doing medium, large, extra large. And I might be doing a video on like an extra, extra large system. I had one electrician reach out to me recently, and he's got a crazy project I'm reviewing with him to try and navigate it and help this customer. If they already have solar, by the way, and they're having to add on, their electric bill for this house is still like $1,200 a month. They have acres and acres of avocados. So really cool to see that, but that's irrigation, and I mean that consumes a lot of energy to run pumps on a regular basis. So we're going to be adding batteries, trying to get them more self-sufficient. Going to try and keep them under NEM1. A lot of people don't know this, but if you have solar already, we can do that, and the new system would be no export. So the old system would be priority 1 to export to the grid and earning credits. The new system would just be there for self-reliance, right? Powering the loads of the home, recharging the battery, and for backup. It's a really good way of going about it. So I got this 4-bedroom right here. Looks like it was just listed three hours ago. Okay. Let's see if it's got solar. This is nice. Doesn't look like it. Nice little upgrade, and listed at $759. I'm not affiliated with any of these listings. I'm not affiliated with realtor.com. I'm just using these as examples for our proposals. So we're going to grab this. If you happen to buy this house and you wanted to put solar on it, well, look, I'm going to build you a quote right now. Keep in mind, things vary from property to property, so it's always a good idea. Look at that orientation on the back, perfect south, almost like it was designed for it, in my opinion. Hang on, let me grab my phone real quick. Yeah, really cool stuff. So this is a pretty big house, and where are we looking at? We're looking at 2688. And if you've watched some of my other videos, I like to use 3 watts per square foot. So that basically gives me a good baseline for where to start with the system. So for this one, we're looking at 8,064 kilowatt hours. So I'm going to jump over to my energy tab, and I use Open Solar. So I take my partner's pricing and I integrate it into Open Solar. If you're an electrician and you need a proposal tool, I do offer services to help get your pricing all within Open Solar. And that way you have a tool to use to present proposals to clients, whether it's battery add-ons, solar plus storage, solar only, whatever you want to do. It's a really great tool, and it doesn't cost anything to use this. You can add sales reps, you can add outside orgs. It has a lot of features that a lot of people don't use, but I'm willing to set it all up for you. Just got to reach out. What I really like is they've upgraded this existing system retrofit. So this system doesn't have it, but with this I can calculate or at least estimate what your existing system is producing, and then we can actually look at real numbers. I'm not just guessing. A lot of companies, they don't, when you're adding on to a system, it's not pretty. It's a big guessing game. I have some other scripts that I'm working on right now, and we're looking at talking about inverter upgrades. So we're going to be putting Tesla solar inverter against Fronius, against SMA. I want to put these top string inverters against each other because the solar systems are aging, they need service, and sadly a lot of companies just tell you, oh no, it's old, we just got to rip it off. It's like, I bought this 10 years ago, bought it 12 years ago. It's still got plenty of life in it. The inverter's bad, they're just being lazy. Not to say that maybe you need more power, that's a different conversation, but if your system's been working fine and then the inverter died finally, it happens. It's equipment, it's going to go bad eventually. It doesn't live forever. So we're going to build out this quote. I'm going to do Axia by QCell, and then I'm going to also do one with Energy Service Partners. So I've been with Energy Service Partners a little bit longer than I've been with Axia by QCell, maybe like 6 months longer. And if you're not familiar with Axia by Q-Cell, they are actually the solar panel manufacturer, Q-Cell. That's why it's in the name, Axia by Q-Cell. So they entered the solar installation business a couple years back, and they've been a big solar panel manufacturer within the United States for a couple years, and they've been making a lot of investments in domestic manufacturing. I really find that to be of great value for anybody looking to make the switch to clean renewable energy. You really want to be conscious of the products that you're buying right now. Domestic products are the way to go. If you can get them, they're worth it. They might be a little more, maybe. It's hard to say. It depends on what you're comparing. But yeah, okay, I definitely built too big of a system here. So I'm at 240% oversized. You can see that in the proposal. As I'm laying out the panels, you can see I have this great 3D modeling going on the property, so I can see it. I can do a shading analysis on it live, so I can see the sun axis. Gives me this great little chart over here to look at, but you can see the solar arrays, and it kind of tells me like if there's, so this is great. We have annual sun axis 99.56%. This is great. But yeah, that's generating way too much power. So let's take some panels off because we don't need that many. We can shrink this down. And you can tell, look at some of these houses. Look at this one, just edge to edge on the side. Oh my goodness, that's a big system. I mean, you expect that out in the desert, lots of modules. So the systems I'm designing are just, example systems. I try and design between 130 to 150%. That's usually a sweet spot. It looks like 15 panels on this particular home is going to do it for us. Remember, we're looking at an energy consumption of 8,064 kilowatt hours. I'm just going off of 3 watts per square foot. It's a baseline for me to start. If you don't have any energy usage, there are some other things that I can do. There's some questions I ask you to kind of calculate that. If you got any particular questions, feel free to use the chat. I have it up on my screen so I can see when you ask a question. Now we're going to select our roof type. We can go flat concrete. They got Iron Ridge in here. They have K2 systems. So if you are new to the industry and you needed to do a BOM, like if you're an electrician, you're like, okay, I need my bill of materials. Open Solar has partnerships with companies like K2, and it'll populate all the parts you need. So you can, boom, this is what the array is going to be, and here's my bill of materials. It gives you your equipment. You can send that over to distribution. Really streamlined. Can't always do it. Some stuff needs to be a little more custom. With this particular site, we're going to go with, I want to use Tesla Powerwall. I want to do a Tesla Powerwall configuration, but I want to do 2 batteries. So this is going to be a pretty modest system. As you can see, we're at 6.45 kilowatts over here in the top left. 146% offset, looking at 11,737 kilowatt hours a year. More than enough energy. We're right in that sweet zone that we're aiming for under NEM3, 130 to 150%. So we're going to grab the Tesla Powerwall 3 inverter. It's integrated into the Powerwall, but we use it externally in the proposal for design purposes. And then we're going to grab the battery. And I have pricing in here. So if you see pricing like this Enphase battery cost, this isn't real. That's not the pricing from any of my partners. That's through distribution. I'm not even linked with this particular distributor. It just populates in there automatically. I have no way of getting it out. If I go to the product, if anybody from Open Solar, if I go to the product, there's no pricing in there. So why does it sync it over? I don't want to see it. It does me no good. To see that, okay, here's one 5 kilowatt hour battery for $4,000, like whoop-de-doo. So here's one Tesla Powerwall 3. Let's grab a second, and yeah, we'll do 2. And then I'm going to put in a second inverter. So it's always good to put in both inverters. So one of the Powerwall 3s is going to be having the DC energy come in. The second one is just going to be AC coupled. So it'll still charge from the solar energy. It's just not going to be directly charged from it. It'll be AC coupled, similar to like a Powerwall 2. And then we're going to go with the Tesla backup switch on this configuration. So, because we'll have ample amount of current and surge capabilities and solar generation for whole home backup with the Tesla Powerwall. No need to move circuits around and do all this fanciness. We can just go straight to what we want. So we are going to do AXQ, 15 panels, 2 power walls. Cool. So there we go. That is our quote for this one site. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to change my partners. I'm going to go ESP. We're going to do, I want to do it, they have power walls. Yeah, we can do power walls. They use a different Q cell module. They use the 410. So it's a slightly lower wattage panel, but it's still a great panel. At the end of the day, anything from Q cell is phenomenal. So we're going to switch that out. And then what I got to do is I have to change a tab that I can't show. So I have to go over here, do a drop-down menu. I have a little drop-down menu to switch partners, and then it changes pricing from one partner to another, which is really nice. I would love to show it to you, but can't. Okay, so there we go. I have switched this out, and the inverter doesn't change, but I do need to change the module. So instead of grabbing AXQ, we're going to grab ESP. Now, neither of these providers sadly use open solar. If they did, how my tool would function would be totally different, because they would share their exact products with me, and I would see it differently. Since I'm using my own software and taking their price sheets and putting it in there, it behaves a little different. But if you were an electrician that I was working with and I built you out an open solar, you could share all your equipment with me, and then I would have your pricing in there, and I could narrow you down and be like, okay, I just want pricing from, ABC Solar or whatever, or, ABC Electrician, whatever it is. I do need to change the power walls for ESP. So I'm going to narrow this down. And they do have the IQ10C, so we can always do that one, but we want to compare power walls in this configuration. So ESP power wall, grab that. This is 2 power walls, and I can change this quantity to from 2 to 1 because it's built into the dual price. Their pricing, every installer is a little different on how they provide pricing. So the point of this is I just want to show you pricing from 2 different providers. That's one of the values of getting a quote from me, is that I work with different contractors. Some of them don't like this, and I'll admit they don't like to have to compete with other companies because they know their price is absurd. And if someone's just giving people the option to get multiple quotes in one try, they're like, oh no, I'd rather try and convince the homeowner not to get any other quotes and that I'm the best person. That's how I look at it. Kind of crazy, but yeah, that's why you have door knockers in this industry, or at least you did. You probably won't see many of them after December 31st. If you do, they might be a little late to the game, in my opinion, but it's fine. It's fine. It is one of the few industries that had door knocking last so freaking long. Yeah, way too long, in my opinion. It's not sustainable. You get, if you do good work, you get referrals, you stay in business, you keep your overhead down, you just do things right. If you're scaling up, be a larger company. Again, you build a network in these communities. These companies, sadly, a lot of them don't do it. I'm not saying ESP and QCell don't do that. They definitely are bigger organizations, but and they're operating in a different sense. But some of these local businesses, you wonder why so many have gone out of business, and it's just bait and switch kind of tactics, in my opinion. I've seen some crazy stuff, let me tell you. So Axia by QCell offers a 25-year equipment, performance, and workmanship warranty. So the modules, you got a 25-year warranty. That includes the performance warranty, and then you have a workmanship warranty. Now, the roof penetration is 10 years. This is pretty much industry standard. The inverter coverage varies between the equipment. So if you got microinverters, you're gonna have a 25-year warranty. We're not doing microinverters. We're doing DC coupled because there's no shading. It's one roof, really clean, super simple. So that Tesla Powerwall inverter is 10 years. So you'd be getting a 10-year warranty there, and then the Tesla Powerwall battery is also 10 years. If you got a different battery like Enphase or Franklin, those have longer term warranties. You could be looking at even QCell's own battery. You could be looking at 12 to 15 years. So we have it ranged here, so and just varies between installers. The one thing that's nice about Energy Service Partners is they have a service program that you get automatically when you become installed by them. They've been doing this for several years now. They're very large not nationwide, statewide for here in California solar provider. They're expanding a little bit in Texas. So I got Axie and QCell for California, Texas, Florida, and Illinois now, from my understanding. And ESP is California and Texas, parts of Texas. Texas is a big state. Y'all got a big state. So here we go. We got a pretty good system in here. We're looking at cash pricing. If you do need financing, I do have financing available with Axie by QCell as well as ESP. And we also have like PPA, power purchase agreement leases available, which those will stick around for an extra year. So any solar providers that you see next year, they might be really pushing leases and PPAs because the tax credit actually goes one more year for them after this year. So they have that 30% to claim as an organization for leases and PPAs until the end of next year. Don't know if everybody's aware of that, but yeah, it's kind of cool. So here's your net system cost. This is not factoring in the tax credit. I don't have the tax credit in my proposals anymore. I've removed it just because I want to show you the cost. If we're able to get you in before the end of the year, like if you move quick, it might happen, right? I can't guarantee it. I mean, it is freaking mid-October. You've had all year, you've had the last 12, 15 years the tax credit's been around to go solar. So if you're really waiting until the last minute and you think the administration's all of a sudden going to change their mind, it ain't happening anytime soon. So we have a 6.5 kilowatt solar system roughly, generating 11,737 kilowatt hours. This is the proposal. This is what it would look like if you reached out and got one from me. You got a nice little video to learn about the Qtron modules, why I really like them from QCell. They are a high performance, high wattage module. They have low light irradiance ratings. I think it's irradiance. Well, they have low light ratings. So if you have areas with overcast or something, these modules do phenomenally well in those climates. They're meant for all types of weather conditions, snow, ice, rain. I mean, you name it, these things are great. They're great in high heat areas as well. So yeah, 11,700 kilowatt hours, not too bad. Plenty of juice. And then we're going to go with 2 power walls. So I wanted to go with 2 power walls just to kind of mix it up compared to the last 2 weeks. We've really just been doing single power wall battery configurations. But you're looking at 27 kilowatt hours of storage and 23 kilowatts of inverter output. That is a lot of power. You will have no problems during an outage powering your air conditioner. And that's what the backup switch is going to do. That little device connects to the meter and that's it. There's no sub panel, there's no this and that and all this crazy stuff. It's just boom, done, easy peasy. And I mean, there's some paperwork involved that the installer has to deal with, but otherwise it's a really, really clean install. Very minimalist. We got our system performance, so we kind of, in my tool, I'm able to estimate what your daily production might be throughout the year based upon the equipment selected. You know, we can see your self-consumption, 73%, and grid independence score, 102%. I'm one of the few consultants that puts this out there. The grid independence means how much of the solar and the battery are you using? Well, with this design, based off this consumption, 102%. So you are not using much of the grid at all. I mean, 102%, you shouldn't be using any of the grid, right? So, yeah, this is a great design right here. 15 QCell 430s, great system. Now let's jump over to ESP. They've been in the industry a little bit longer than Axie by QCell. Well, I wouldn't say a little bit, probably like 3 times longer. QCell's been manufacturing solar panels a heck of a lot longer than them, but you know, that's its own different thing. So here you go. We got Energy Service Partners, and you know, wow, they actually came in lower on this configuration. Okay, well, that's good. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything here. Well, looks about right. System is a little bit smaller, so we still have 15 panels, but since these are a lower wattage panel, they're only 6.1 kilowatts, and they're actually 405 watts. I stand corrected, I said 410, so my apologies for the mix-up there. Looking at 10,946 kilowatt hours. So if we add an extra panel, that probably would put the price more in line with Qcell, but we're not going to have this nice symmetrical design. All right, we're just going to throw one up here just for, so it's, can't we just redesign this a little bit to try and keep it square? I really like trying to, how many is that? That's 20, okay. That's 18. Okay, I'm back at 15. Dang it. All right, well, I mean, I'm sure if I did portrait, it'd look a little better. I might have to do portrait with theirs. I do like landscape on these types of roofs because it just looks so clean. Okay, that's 16. All right, so we're going to change this. 16. We're set. Now we have a more apples to apples comparison here. Those are things you got to pay attention to. You can't always just look at the number of panels that's being presented. So that's a good little hiccup I had there. I wasn't paying attention to the kilowatts. I was just focused on panels. That happens. So don't be fooled by just, oh, well, this company is saying 15 panels. Well, they could be 15 300-watt panels. That doesn't mean it's 15 500. Well, that's a big difference, right? So that one extra panel amounts to quite a bit of difference in cost, but also production. So that's a big variable there. So now if we jump over, it's going to recalculate everything. Nothing's changed on Axie by Qcell. We still have basically a 6.5 kilowatt solar system, which honestly, ESP is now basically a 6.5 kilowatt solar system. My thing's rounding up a little bit, so it's like 6.45, but you know, it starts to get marginal there. Hey, ESP still comes in a little bit cheaper. Not too bad, guys, not too bad. So we're about $400 cheaper from Energy Service Partners. I'm sure I could square out the array if I spend a little more time on it. But there you go. You can either, well, actually, that's like a $3,000 price difference, $2,500. Yeah, it makes me think that maybe I'm missing something in there, but you know, if you got a quote, we'll go over it and verify it. I usually jump over to Aurora because both these partners use Aurora, and then I put in the system and make sure, like, okay, yeah, that pricing lines up. Okay, cool. My tool's estimating right. I've been doing it enough where I'm like, I'm not usually missing anything. I have quite a few stuff in there. So 2 power walls, backup switch, 2 inverters, 16 panels, under 40 grand. That's really good. Now, let's see what kind of savings we'd be getting. Let's say this was, hey, Dale, thank you. I want to go with ESP. I know Axie by Qcell is a great manufacturer. They're a great installer, but I'm really focused on just getting the best price. And I'm okay with using 405 watt modules versus 430, because at the end of the day, both got 25-year warranties. So, old bill, $238. New bill, 12 bucks. 12 bucks. So lifetime savings, you're looking at $112,000. That is really cool. Now, I do want to add a little thing here. Axie by Qcell does something unique. Is there a big difference in savings here? Nah, well, their modules produce a little bit more, have a little bit better power retention. So we do see the savings jump up a little bit over 112,000, where ESP is just below it. But, you know, it's little stuff. But I do want to point out that difference in price might get made up with what Axie by Qcell does. So you might not know this, but there's actually renewable energy credits. They're called RECs. And not a lot of organizations handle the paperwork related to these renewable energy credits. Basically, for every kilowatt hour of energy that you send to the grid or your system generates, it's eligible for like a REC, and it's a renewable energy credit. It's a certificate, and those can be purchased and sold on the market. Tesla's been doing it for a long time, and you know this has been a big business. Now it'll be interesting if this program continues going on with some of the changes, because Tesla will sell their RECs to GM and Ford and Chevrolet, right? They sell them to other industries that need to be focused, that need to meet certain environmental agency standards, right? So if they're not offsetting enough of their emissions, they buy these certificates from other organizations who are exceeding or creating renewable energy on the infrastructure in the United States in general. I think this is really California, but might be It might be in other states too. I'm not 100% sure. But Axia by QCell actually handles all this paperwork. I had no idea. I thought it was only applicable to leases. I know every lease, they automatically do this stuff because they want this free money. How much free money are we talking? Well, it's actually a fair amount. So on the last customer, it's like, how much was it? I know the power walls, with 2 power walls, he was getting close to like $300 for the 2 power walls. And on the solar, I think he was getting, yeah, he's going to get like $500. Yeah, so it's based on your kilowatt system size. I think it's $100 a kilowatt, something like that. You know, I would have to look it up. It's in the paperwork. But yeah, so Axia handles this, and then every year they do the paperwork, and you just get a gift card. It's a gift card. You get a gift card in the mail. Easy. And they handle it. They buy your credits from you, and then they pay you for them, and then they deal with reselling them to other organizations. Gotta give QCell credit for that, because you think about that over long term, right? You get these credits, you didn't know were eligible, you go with a local installer, they don't handle RECs. It's a very complex program that only large organizations are going to be able to navigate. QCell does this, even if you don't lease it. So if you buy your system cash, they're going to sign you up for this program unless you opt out of it. You do have the option to opt out, be like, nah, I don't want your free money. It's cool. You don't have to. You know, because you got to really maintain your system. There are some criteria to it. So it can be a little stressful. And then with the battery credit, because you can be part of QCell's virtual power plant, their grid services, and they compensate you for this. Tesla has their grid services. Sunrun has grid services. You might have been seeing ads from the 2 organizations promoting how their grid services help stabilize the grid, because what they're doing is they're using residential batteries. They're using these batteries, right, that are connected to people's homes that are part of a virtual power plant configuration, and instead of the homeowner using the battery energy, they are allowing the grid to take that power and compensate them for it. So you're still using some of your battery, but most of it's being exported to the grid. And you can set reserve, so if you have a backup limit, like it's not like you give them your entire battery, but you can reserve like 50%, and then they'll take the other 50%. Right, and once it hits that reserve that you have set for emergencies, it's like, cool, all right, that's it. You're gonna have to find someone else's battery. But you can earn, with like a Powerwall, you can earn up to like $300 a year. You know, so it's a really great program. QCell has it with their Q Home battery, and they actually pay you some extra stuff too with their Q Home core battery. But the Powerwall, you're eligible for the virtual power plant. And then obviously you have the RECs. So does Energy Service Partners does this? Not that I'm aware of. Do most local installers do this? Absolutely not. I don't know any of them. And I've partnered with a couple, and you know they've never mentioned like, oh, by the way, we do RECs. If I was an organization, that would be my number one focus, because that's free money. This is an organization. They're not charging you to do the paperwork. They're just giving you free money. Like, here you go. Thanks for going solar. Here's money every year because you made that investment until the program's gone, right? Until the program's gone. So that's kind of cool. And I really, you know, so if you did that and you got $500 a year, well, within 6 years, you've made up the difference of that ESP price. And then every year after year 6, well, now your system's coming down in cost, right? And this is assuming you didn't have the tax credit. So if you got $500 a year for just going solar or getting a battery, okay, within 6 years, you've made $3,000. All right, well, shit, that's now cheaper than the ESP system. If you go 7 years, you go 10 years, now you're ahead. Now you're $2,000 cheaper. Think about that. You know, before you sign your quote, are you going to be participating in renewable energy certifications? Are they going to sign you up? Are they going to handle the paperwork for you? Is it free of charge? That's a big deal. QCell's not charging for this. So I really wanted to point that out, because yes, we have a price difference here. I like both providers. That's why I'm partners with them. That's why I'm showing you pricing. But one does have a little bit of an advantage here. Now, if your upfront cost is like my budget's 40 grand, there's no way I can get QCell under 40. ESP is the only way. I'm going to have to give up those renewable credits. It is what it is at the end of the day. But it is a program that's out there. And honestly, if I would have known about this like 5 years, I think this program's been around for a while. If I would have known about this program like 5 years ago, I would have had a hell of a time selling solar, because I would have been telling every client, no, you want to go with the company that's going to do these credits, because you're getting free money every year. Every single year they're going to mail you out something. What, $50, $100, $500, whatever it is, it's free, and you got it because you made the switch to clean renewable energy. So that's enough of my rant on that. I've done a lot of systems. I've sold a lot of systems over the year. But let's get into another house. Let's go bigger, right? So we are looking at homes between, $2,000 and $3,000. We kind of picked one that was closer to that $3,000 or 3,000 square feet. So let's go for. Let's try and find something closer. Why doesn't this one like jump up? What is wrong here? Realtor.com. Sheesh Louise. So 4,500 to 5,000 square feet. Let's go with a bigger house. Remember, I was going medium, large, extra large. So we're going to even do a bigger system, because what I want to show you is how big of a savings you still get with solar, even without the tax credit. Yes, it's going to be mainly revolving around clients that have higher electric bills. But I think all our electric bills are going to just continue to go up. I don't see any way around it. I really don't. I really don't. And you're going to likely see more businesses get into solar, right? More of the small business. We have residential, and then you have commercial. And it's like, okay, max system size, 30 panels, 40 panels at the most. Then you get into commercial, and it's like 500 panels. There's like, how do we go from 40 to 500? Like, what about stuff in the middle? What about 50 panels or 150 panels, 250 panels? That's small businesses. That's a growing market. I believe that market is going to explode over the next couple of years, especially with storage and virtual power plant networks. I strongly believe business owners will be heavily incentivized for virtual power plant incentives to put in electric vehicle chargers that are bidirectional and put in batteries. Because think about it, businesses are open 9 to 5, right? Most of them are. Most of them are 9 to 5. So you're generating all this solar energy, you feed it into the grid. The grid doesn't really want it, so what do? You put batteries in there, because they're not going to give you money for that energy. And I know we're going a little off topic, but they're going to give you that battery. You're going to be able to charge your batteries. And then in the evenings, what's going to happen? Well, the batteries don't have anywhere to go because the business is closed, right? Sun's not shining. You got these batteries, maybe you got 100 kilowatt hours sitting on your site. And it's like, okay, well, why not export them to the grid? The grid needs them. Cool. We need that power. You made the investment in this. Now you're going to earn credits. Now you're going to earn credits for offsetting your utility costs, right? Utilities with commercial is totally different than residential. It's got a lot of different caveats to it, but you won't need a tax credit, right? In most commercial applications, you rarely, even use the tax credit. There were different tax credits available. You write off the equipment. You depreciate the equipment. It's totally different. That's why I'm saying residential, I don't really care about that tax credit. And neither should you. It doesn't matter. Businesses, small to medium businesses and locations, that's where this is going. So that's why I want to show medium, large, extra large. Extra large, I'm going to try and build us like an 80 panel system right now. The one I've been consulting on with, shout out to Anton, shout out, he's in Simi Valley, amazing electrician, really, really knowledgeable. Having a great time working with him right now on these projects. But, dude, that is where it's going. I've been saying this for a while, and I was trying to get people to understand where this is going. And sometimes I speak in riddles. Sometimes. No, I'm kidding. All right, this looks like a bitchin' house right here. 4,960 square feet. Does not look like it has solar. $5 million home, and these are your photos. Yeah. I don't know. Let's click on them, make it better. Do we have any pictures of solar? No, we don't see anything that's solar. It's got a video tour. Good job. Been on the market 3 days. Okay, this one's going to be a ground mount, so we're going to do it as a ground mount. It probably has a 400 amp service. This is where solar manufacturers, battery manufacturers need to catch up. They need to start creating 400 amp, 600 amp systems, right? I don't know if you'll need it necessarily for the commercial space, but you need to have the right batteries for it. We're probably going to need 3 phases. You really don't want to be putting in transformers if you don't have to. There's some room for evolution here. It's awesome. I'm sharing my little insights and where I think things are going to go. And you need to get rid of all these idiots that think they know electrical that don't. I mean, if you ask a solar contractor like anything 3-phase related, it's like a deer in headlights. Oh, you caught me. I don't know anything, It's pretty comical. It's pretty comical. So we're going to grab this $4.5 million home, and we are going to build an awesome ground mount solar system. And we're only going to do it with Axia by QCell because they do ground mount still. A lot of solar companies have kind of backed off. Oh, it looks like they were putting solar on it already. Dang it. Okay, we're going to pick a different house. It's funny they don't even tell you, like, oh yeah, it has solar. A lot of these bigger homes, they really do. They make the investment. These people are smart. You wonder why people have $4 or $5 million homes. Yeah, they're smart usually, or they're a rapper. They could be a rapper. This house is very white. Those are it. Those are the photos. Okay, very white. Wow. Do we have solar? Description: half acre, laundry room, additional separate casita. This home comes equipped fully owned solar panel system, meaning lower electric bills and energy independence. Dang it. Okay, well that one's got solar. This is going to be hard to find like a big house without solar. What about this guy? Doesn't look like there's solar. Do you see any solar on the roof? I was hoping to do a ground mount, show you kind of a ground mount. With an own solar system. And look at this, another multi-million-dollar home with solar. And I'm not saying that solar is for the rich. I'm definitely not saying that. It's just that they understand the value of their money. And why do I want to give it to the utility company when I can own something? We're running low on time. I'm up to 40 minutes already on this video. I really try and stay under an hour. I want to be at an hour. So let's see if we can grab one. Laundry room, Arnold Palmer, golf course, 2 restaurants, 38 luxuries. Let's grab this one on Hawk Hill. Now this one probably can't be a ground mount, I'll be honest, because it's on a golf course. Let's grab Hawk Hill Trail. Does not have solar. We have a lot of east roof, a lot of tile. So this one would probably be a comp out because they're all going to be on this east side of this house. So we are still going to have some extra cost in here because with a clay style roof, you cannot install solar directly on it. Very complicated, very complicated. So we're at 45. So we're just going to say, I'm just going to put the energy usage at like 15,000 kilowatt hours. We're not going to be able to do a 90 panel system here, but this is going to be a big system. So 15,000 kilowatt hours. You know what, screw it. Let's go 20,000 kilowatt hours a year. Southern California Edison, NEM3. You can see the energy pattern that open solar populated. Good job, guys. Thanks for the data. And here we go. So on a clay roof, like I was saying, you can't install on this. You have to remove the tiles, put composition shingle down. There's a couple different terms used. Strip and go, picture frame, whatever. No matter what, you have to remove the tiles. Put comp down, and then you put in the solar, and then you install the tile back around it. It looks like it's a building integrated photovoltaic system. So it's really nice. And there is extra cost related to that. So we're going to start adding our system. We're going to do this with Axia by QCell. I can do it with ESP. They actually have a roofing division in-house at that organization, which is nice. Go advance. We're going to do offset. So these are some of like the hidden features that I use to build nice arrays. And you got to leave clearance. So some guys, you need fire clearance, but when you're doing it on a clay roof, you need room on the bottom for the roofer to put the tile back. You can't just be like at the eave. It's like, no, you need to be like a good 18 inches up so he has room to put some tile back. So this one's a little close. If this is a vent up here, like a dormer, which exhaust, we can put an O'Hagan in, do a low profile vent, swap that other one out. Easy peasy. It does already look to be a low profile vent, so we're probably fine. Don't even need to worry about it. So we got one array down. That's 10 panels. So far, it's only offsetting 35%. Now, I'm not going to worry about any of these vents because this is what's nice. When you're re-roofing the house, you can move some stuff around. Yeah, there's some permits involved for it, but you can do it. You can do it. So we're going to move some vents around. That one's not going to fit there. Assuming we did that. Would that one fit there? Yeah, see, some of the fire clearances, this is stuff that I've dealt with different fire departments. It depends on the jurisdiction, but some of them will let you touch an eave, and then you can say like, okay, this is my 3-foot clearance over here, right? This is a fire access pathway. Not all of them will let you do that, but some of them do, and it's pretty nice when they do. I'm going to switch this to portrait and see if maybe we can fit them a little better. I can fit a little more. Sometimes you can fit more panels. This is actually a better configuration. Yeah, hopefully we'd be able to move those vents. That's really important. If we can't move those vents, we're going to run out of roof space here. I'm trying not to have anything on the golf course. So, whoops. Didn't mean to put that guy there. We're facing east, right? So this is east. The golf course is south. Honestly, you know what? Golfers don't care. I don't know. Golf communities sometimes get really particular, and they're like, meh, meh, meh. It's like, look, it's the best orientation. No golfer is going to look at the black panels and go, it blinded me. I freaking couldn't hit it. Worst case scenario, they break some of your panels, though. That I have seen. You know, when living in Bear Creek, there were some homes with houses on the driving range and just spots where it just, man, they would get smashed. And you just see them up there, broke, and they stopped replacing them. They just didn't. Like the homeowners just were like, whatever. They were over it. Yeah, those don't fit portrait or landscape. All right, so that's 4. We're at 100%. Not much of a buffer. So we're gonna put a couple more right here. Boom, boom. Put those 2 right there. So we got a lot of panels. We're at 31. We have room for more. We're hopefully able to relocate some of the vents over here. If not, we're going to probably have to move some modules here, move some modules there. We have some area. So when I'm building it out and I'm like, hey, I plan on moving some vents, you know, it all depends once we do that site visit. Some stuff you just can't move. It can be kind of pain in the ass. So here we go. We're going to go tile clay. And then I'm going to do I want to do power wall? Do I want to do power wall? This is one of those ones where I think I might do microinverters, and I would only do that because we're on the golf course. So we're going to grab Axia by Q-Cells. We're going to convert this DC Qtron module into an AC module by using their microinverter. That's going to simplify stuff quite a bit. And then we're going to grab a battery. And you know what? Let's use Q-Cells batteries. Because it got more storage. So we got 20 kilowatt hours in a full stack. We're going to go with 2 of them. So we'll have 40 kilowatt hours. AC coupled. So it's all a Q-Cell system, microinverters, AC batteries. And they actually have a really compact, clean design. Now the only downside is they don't have that meter collar, which is fine because I doubt this house even has a oh, I forgot the box for this. Hang on. Where's the Q-Cell box? Oh, you know what? It doesn't populate. It's not in here. I don't know why Q-Cell's box. There's a combiner box for the microinverters. Oh, no, wait. I think it got added into the Q-Home. Oh, no, that's on the new inverter and the new battery. So be sure to like, follow, subscribe. If you're interested in getting your own quote, reach out to me using reinnovations.org. It's at the very top of the screen. I got it right there for you. Here, I'll even make it blink, right? So, blue. Whoops, wrong button. Blink, blink, blink. Fun. Okay, we use microinverters, got 40 kilowatt hours of storage on here. We got that Q home. Now I need to add in some other components because we're gonna have some extra cost here for this. So under mine, I have mounting as an adder in here. So I have MTG, mounting, ground mount. That's for CamLink. That's a ballast. Comp insert, yes. Lightweight, clay tile. Yeah, there we go. Comp insert. So this should automatically calculate it per panel with just one quantity. I shouldn't have to count it, but let me double check on the other end. Yeah, it added it in there. Okay, so we got the roof work in there, and that's it. That's it. This is a nice golf course, by the way, guys. Arnold Palmer designed this one. If you like an Arnold Palmer, those are good. You know what's really good? You do Dr. Pepper and Sierra Mist. I swear. Do like 75, 85% Dr. Pepper and do like, 10 to 25% Sierra Mist. It's freaking, it's epic. It's epic. You're going to thank me. You'll thank me later. I really hope this is in here. I'm going to delete it and see what the price looks like. And then we can add it back afterwards. And I mean, I can click here and I can see price. This is where I change some of my drop-down menu stuff is right here. So 66. So yeah, it's in there. So other Axia Q-cell mounting. Clay insert. Comp insert, whatever you want to call it. So we got a 30 panel system, 40 kilowatt hours of energy. We're aiming for most of the home being backed up. I'm assuming this house has a 400 amp panel, so it may be a little tricky to back everything up, but depending on how many sub panels there are throughout the house, we will figure out what we can and can't back up. You got a lot of power, got a lot of storage, so yeah. Let's jump over here. All right, same spiel, 25-year equipment, performance, workmanship warranty. Since we're going with microinverters up on the roof, you're good there. 10-year roof warranty. So you're looking at a total system cost. Let's go in here. $82,000. Remember, we got roof work in here, so you're getting a new roof on this side of the house. So where the solar's going, you really don't have to worry about it. You got a new roof. It's still going to have that clay all around it. It's just going to be composition shingle under it. So you're looking at about $82,000, 91% grid independence, lifetime savings $290,000, right? So you got a lot going on. I have lightweight or clay roofs on here, a standard, 13.3 kilowatts. Total output on the microinverters is almost 11 kilowatts. On the Q-cell inverters, I think it's important to note, they provide during normal grid usage about 8 kilowatts, a little under 8 kilowatts. So you get about 16 kilowatts AC during normal grid usage. But during a power outage, they unlock and they can do up to 11.4 kilowatts or 11.2. You get more power out of them during a power outage. So I think that's really worth pointing out. So you're not it's more comparable to a Powerwall with their configuration in a backup scenario. And that's really when you need that power rating from the power outage, from a Powerwall, is when the power outage occurs. You rarely need 11.5 kilowatts during normal grid usage. So there you go, just under $82,000, turnkey system with a new roof under where the modules are going. What was that old built? $635 a month on average. So you bet in the desert, this is in Palm Desert that we've been doing, that bill during peak months was like $1,200. Easy. You run in the air, probably got a couple air conditioners, keeping that house cool, enjoying your Arnold Palmer while watching the golfers just beef it on the course or tip over the golf cart. It gets obnoxious out there. Yeah, I'm not much of a golfer. I've gone a couple times with some buddies and everything, but it was never really my thing. I gave it a good try. I'm not a golfer. I'm not going to pretend it. I'm okay at it, but I'm not amazing at it. I'm not that kind of guy. 9 years, 9 months return on investment. I know. I know. If you had the tax credit, it'd be a little better. I can't add in there the renewable energy certificate credits. I would love to, because with a system this big, you are getting a substantial credit. You could be getting up to like $400 a year for just being part of the Q-Cells grid services, right? So just for that amount of storage, you could easily be getting $400. And then you factor in the size of the solar system, which I can't remember for the life of me off the top of my head, how much you get per kilowatt. I want to say it's like $50 or something per kilowatt. So with a 13, you could be looking at like a $700 for just your solar system and renewable energy credits. So between the batteries and the solar, you could be making over $1,000 a year in gift cards. Boom, here you go. Repurpose them. Here you go, Christmas presents. Pass them out. But that's money that's coming back from you just making the switch to clean renewable energy. Now, at the end of the day, this is a good investment. Yes, it's 10 years. You know, I know. The market this year has been phenomenal. If you were able to buy down in that dip in March, bam, we've hit all-time highs in less than 6 months. I mean, what, the market went from 450 to 600 in a matter of 6 months. That's a phenomenal return. That's crazy fast. That's not realistic. That's not normal. Right, so we're in a new dynamic market. There's a lot of money coming in with artificial intelligence and other things. The solar industry is getting a little bit of a shakeup in general with the tax credit going away. But don't you worry. The good companies like Axia by Q-Cell and Energy Service Partners, they're going to still be here. I'm still going to be here because I know where it's going. I've been in this industry. I've been following it for a very long time, and you know, I keep my ear close to the ground. So, you just got to look at things, right? I'm an outsider at times looking in, and I'm an insider looking out. And, you know, my opinion and perspective on things have been kind of spot on as we've seen this market evolve. And that next big thing is in a space that, honestly, none of these solar installers have experience in. It's going to go to the electricians. It's going to go to the guys like Anton that are out there, like Scott. These guys are, I can't think of some of the other people's names. I'm not great with names, so if I remembered your name, trust me, that was cool. But these guys, these electricians that are familiar with three-phase configurations, they understand the safety that goes behind them. They understand the risk that's involved with these systems. They're not just your run-of-the-mill solar installer that so many companies have that really don't know electrical. They're not really trained to the level they should be in this space, and they're definitely not trained. Maybe for residential, it's fine. But in commercial, when we do these small to medium businesses, it ain't going to be fine. You know, I've heard some stories of guys getting killed dealing with three-phase that were not super familiar with it. It is definitely an industry that is going to reshape the landscape, and it's going to propel solar even further because we need to bridge the gap between residential and commercial industrial, and we have a huge gap right here, literally the size of this circle. And so that's business. It's small, medium businesses, maybe even a little bit of large, where they're going to be needing 100 panels, 250 panels. That's not quite CNI, and it's not residential. And they're going to be dealing with 480 volt, 277 volt. They're going to be dealing with 208, single phase, three phase, transformers, step up, step down. You're going to need storage. That's where it's headed. And these organizations can write off the equipment. You get a good CPA. They don't need a tax credit. They can depreciate the value of this investment over time and probably get a better return on investment than you would have ever gotten buying the system for your home with the tax credit. So what I'm trying to get at is it's still a great time to make the switch to clean renewable energy. You want to go with trusted brands like Q-Cell, that one, Enphase. You want to go with, you know, good installers at the end of the day, and you want to go with those that are going to help get you some free money. I really like the fact that Q-Cell handles the paperwork for the renewable energy certificates. They have a virtual grid service program to pay you. They have their own battery. They have their own modules. They have their own microinverter. We're likely to see more manufacturers enter this space. I got a full video. I've been working on the script that I've been, exploring the probabilities. And in fact, I talked to Q-Cells 4 or 5 years ago about the manufacturers need to be closer to the consumer at the end of the day. If you want this to work, that's the only way it's going to work. So thanks for watching. I'm Dale with Renewable Innovations. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you're needing assistance, whether you're an electrician or you're a homeowner, whatever it is, I'm here to help you. I do smart home automation. I don't do Control 4 or Latron or any of that stuff. I do more more, I guess you could call it basic smart home automation. I'm more with the Apple HomeKit, Google Nest, Amazon Alexa. That's what I specialize in that department for smart home integration. But I think I might be a little better. Depends on what you're trying to do. I do have electricians that specialize in low voltage configurations. Those systems get pricey though. I mean, you're looking at like $150,000. We're getting to the point with phones, right, where you don't quite need that. With smart outlets, smart breakers, smart devices throughout the home that you can kind of, get close to a Control 4 system for a fraction of the cost. So I did a previous video. Be sure to check it out. Thanks for liking, following, subscribing, and I look forward to doing some more live solar quotes with you next week. In November, we might be changing the schedule around, so be sure to stay tuned. Thanks again, and